Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland. I'm having lunch here. It's a wonton soup and fried wontons. You can't beat it. Nice iced tea. Oh. Quite interesting. If we go back and watch this channel is called Dreamy Dreamland with Sensie Owl Bob. And I'm there, and here we are right here doing it. But we're doing it off my whatever this thing is, tablet, a teeny tablet. So, I always appreciate comments, part of the cadre, but please write something. I'm not big on emojis or memes or, and if you put it all in caps, I know you're not streaming on me. It's just so I can read them. I don't have my glasses. So, there's Jimmy. Oh, sounds good. You know me. It's always good. How are things in Ireland? Are they as insane, seemingly, as they are here? Because I'm old enough, United States went bankrupt from 1962, well, really 1947 to 91, right? When George H. was in power, and he had that 1,000 points of light. Right? Yeah. So, and Ireland is, it's interesting. So the last time I was in Ireland was just when Ireland was joining the EU, right? So I first went there in 69 and 1980, what was it, 84? It was 84 when, 84, 86 when Ireland joined the EU. And pretty much everyone's going on about how Ireland was the poorest nation in Western Europe, right? What always amused me was that Ireland took care of its people. I mean, there was the dole. I mean, you didn't have to work. I mean, I lived in this little town where every woman had like 10 children by 10 different guys, A little town was called Glendor. There's a fishing village right on the main western highway, which is like a cow path then, between Skibbereen and Galway, right? And no one worked, right? And most of the guys there weren't even Irish. They were German, itinerant scholars. And they were going out into the Atlantic, and they were bringing in they were like pirates. They were bringing in goods, right, in their fishing boats. Anyway. So my girlfriend at that time was like the old crone. And Archie, who was my mentor at Trinity, hooked me up with this girl. She goes, "Hey, this girl's great for you. You should be with this girl." And she was. Brilliant, smart, hot. And she went to medical school at Oxford. And then at Trinity, and then she was a doctor for the Irish government of that little town. And she was the only grown-up, right? And that town was so off the hook that the priest left. I mean, I was there, and he came and he was, I talked to my bishop, I can't take it. I'm going to let you be the priest. I said, I'm not a priest. He said, well, here's the keys to the church. Do your best. And that was like 69 to 70. And maybe a little, maybe 72, 73, yes. Or maybe even 74. I think it was 74. Anyway, time is irrelevant almost. And that's something I'd love to teach you guys, that time is irrelevant. Right? I'm going to show you right now. Everyone close their eyes. Take a big breath in. Keep breathing in. Keep breathing in. Hold it. Slowly, slowly let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Focus your total concentration on your breath. Nothing else. Keep doing that, right? Your eyes are closed. And I wouldn't do this standing up or driving a car, If you're sitting in a comfortable, safe chair, that's a good idea. But if you're going to go into state, right? We had our last full moon a few nights ago. And between now and New Year's, each day is going to be stranger and stranger and stranger. So, now, around me, there are all these people who are totally bent out of shape and scared. Oh my God, ah! But if you're breathing, you still breathing, guys? Breathe in, put your conscious mind on your breath. Breathe out, your eyes are closed. And the deeper you go into state, the more you'll be able to see what's going on. Right? And you'll be able to navigate your paranormal mirror. And that's that little mirror behind your eyelids that allows you to dream. When you're asleep and you're having REM sleep. I had a great dream last night. It's still with me. It's so great. Still with me. Then I was in a city, and it was a big building, kind of like a civic center or a hotel or something like that. And I went in. The ground floor was almost. It went into this great lobby, and it just kept going and going and going. And all these people were artists or selling stuff that was like an arcade, a raffle place, the thing you have in the middle of your town where everything gets sold. And in the Rainbow Gathering, they call it the trading circle. Anyway, but it went on forever. So I just kind of was moseying around. And I see all these people trying to stick things together. And it was kind of dim. The space was kind of dim. Remember, keep breathing. Eyes closed, lying down. I found all these light fixtures, like lamps, right? And all these chunks of colored glass and all kinds of things. So I just start sticking stuff together and hanging it up on a wall or from the ceiling. And it just started illuminating the space that was there. Now, the space went on forever, but the illumination just was right there. As soon as that space got illuminated, high W. Okay. High W. So people were running around and getting really excited by being in that illumination because they were seeing things that they never saw before, and they were picking up stuff off the floor and out of these boxes and sticking it together and making amazing art, amazing stuff, right? And people just kept doing that, and I just kept walking around the space, sticking things together and hanging it up or putting it on the ceiling. And this old girlfriend of mine, who was kind of a mobster from North Carolina, she was kind of there, right? And she came over. Oh, honey, how you doing? And she's as old as I am, but she's like, woo. She used to be thin and trim, and she was like an assassin, you know. So she didn't have an ounce of fat on her, but she was kind of chunky. Anyway, I knew not to say anything, so I didn't. So we were walking around. She goes, I control everything. I'm blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm the boss. I'm blah, blah, blah. So you always were, you know, not a problem. We're talking and talking. And then there was a paranormal force that was like above her. Let's light shined on her, and she was like, and I kind of looked around. I couldn't see it, and said, honey, yoo-hoo, are you awake there? And she wasn't. She wasn't even alive. Right? She was a big Newton in my imagination, or something close to it. And so I just kept walking around, and I met somebody else. So I'm in charge. Blah, blah, you're doing a great job. We want to hire you. Blah, 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 blah. So we walked around. They were going on about how much they're in charge. And
you have a chat, I want you to move the word over here. This is more the job.
Well, I don't know.
Okay?
Tell me, this year doesn't work. What do you want me to do?
I want you to move
My
the word, move the car.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Okay.
This is more the job.
Good. Okay. I can do that now. You know, your mother was talking to me, right? Uh-huh. And you know that scene when Charlie Brown, the teacher, is talking to her, and the teacher's like, yeah. That's what I thought your mother was doing.
That's okay.
Unfortunately, the meeting is so delayed, sir. Case of division reached into every corner of Siam.
Just giving me the time to think of many things, including my
I have heard advice, cautious.
I assume that I'm speaking now.
Best not to assume too much. When presented His Majesty, you and son will remember to transform him to fall.
There's only not from my own.
Then how would you treat him?
Yeah, most respect.
Et leur garnison n'était pas destinée au royaume du ciel. C'est pourquoi l'idée que le gouvernement
Apparently the warships run aground there.
détruire l'amitié qui existe entre eux. Amitié que le roi de France voudrait honorer par ce présent. Kira-kira semasulit demi dispensing another day.
What, a dozen egg rolls? Okay.
Brandon, wait.
You want 2 chicken fried rices?
More.
Okay. Or orders?
We have been waiting. And although I appreciate your policies, great, I would imagine that there's something.
Sirs!
Okay. Oh, so you guys hung in there very good. When mom talks, you gotta. But like I said, when she said, "Hello," I knew she was calling my name. I said, "Yes." You went, "What? What?" Then she used her hands. Anyway. Hi. Hi, WWW. Jennifer. Well, is that Jennifer? So small I can't read it. Let's see, J. JP. Prize? Fees? Visa? Anyway, so here we are, 17 minutes and 41 seconds into the show. 1 minute. Oh. Can I order something else?
Yeah,
Do you have any fried bananas and ice cream?
I do. You want one of those?
First impressions are often very misleading.
It's that kind of day.
From 48.
I'm gonna get fried bananas and ice cream. Ooh. Because it's not only hot, I mean, it's like 87, which isn't that hot. But the humidity makes it feel like 103. Normally I'd sit out there, but the air conditioning is nice right here. Anyway, so here it is Thursday. Do you guys have public radio in your neighborhood? Does anybody want to listen to a thing called alternative radio? If you go to alternativeradio.org, he's been doing this lecturing and recording lectures and all just amazing stuff he's got on his site. It's called alternativeradio.org. David Bonfagnon. He's out of Boulder, Colorado. Really great. And my public radio station, WETSU, has it. My radio, go on to, etsu.edu or whatever education, or to just a radio station, which is WETS, maybe .org. And see all the shows they have. Really a lot of good shows. Probably the best public radio station. And I am always involved in wherever I am, the public radio station. And Donnie's trying to get rid of them. And I would say our radio station is safe because people, they don't really, when they do their drives, they just say, between this Monday and next Thursday, we're going to have a drive. And at this time, if you give us money and you're a teacher or you're working in a hospital or this or that, if you put $1 in, someone else is going to put in $1,000. So they don't, if you have a public radio station and what kind of going to the dentist when they have their drives. Ours aren't like that because everyone is so supportive. So that's we have really good. So WET, alternativeradio.org, very good show. They all have another one. It's like a New Age show they have on Tuesdays. I forget what it's called, but that's a pretty good one. And another good. Go watch DJ Dark Journalist. I guess YouTube. That's a good show. Let's see. Oh, it's a good one.
وخالد الأحرار أو الذين خرجوا من المدينة المنورة تركوا الدنيا ونعيمها من أجل لا إله إلا الله.
So now that we have answered the question as to who carried out 9/11, let's now examine what Israel knew in advance of the attacks and why it didn't use this information to help the United States stop them. These questions start with the so-called 5 dancing Israelis who were seen celebrating and filming a jetliner slam into the Twin Towers from atop a removalist van in New Jersey on September 11th, as reported at the time by mainstream media outlets.
It began when this woman was watching the Twin Towers burning from her apartment in New Jersey. She noticed 3 men on top of a van, posing for pictures with the towers burning in the background.
And I could see that they were like happy. They didn't look shocked to me. They didn't look shocked. I thought it was very strange.
The witness called police, who stopped the van hours later and arrested 5 men. All 5, it turns out, were Israeli. They were turned over to the FBI. Sources tell ABC News during a check of national security databases, some of the men were listed as having had connections with Israeli intelligence. At the FBI, that set off alarm bells. The FBI needed the answers to 3 important questions. Who were these men? What brought them to that parking lot on the morning of September 11th? And did they have any advanced knowledge of what was going to happen that day?
When the men were apprehended by law enforcement, they first claimed to be Israeli tourists, but later admitted to being illegally employed by a moving company called Urban Moving Systems, a company and FBI investigation determined to be a front for Israeli intelligence operating within the United States. Of the 5 arrested, at least 2 of the men were determined to have direct links to the Mossad after their names appeared in a CIA FBI database of foreign intelligence operatives. According to the initial police report, one of the 5 told the arresting police officers, "We are Israeli. We are not your problem. Your problems are our problems. The Palestinians are the problem." End quote. We'll circle back to this in a moment, but the FBI was so sure that the 5 Israelis had information about the 9/11 attacks, or at least knew of the attacks in advance, that it held them for 5 months in solitary confinement and subjected some of them to at least 7 polygraph tests, which is an unusually high number according to experts. A famous American journalist who reviewed the FBI investigation and interviewed higher-ranking FBI officials said in March 2002 that the law enforcement agency believed it was impossible the Israelis didn't know of the attack in advance.
What about this question of advanced knowledge of what was going to happen on 9/11? How clear are investigators that some Israeli agents may have known something?
Well, it's very explicit information, obviously, and there's a great deal of evidence that they say they have collected, none of it necessarily conclusive. It's more when they put it all together, a bigger question they say is, how could they not have known?
And not only they, but Dick Cheney. There was a guy left over from Bill Clinton's, and he was, the guy who was like Bill Clinton's Homeland Security before Homeland Security. And he kept telling Dick Cheney, hey, you got to look at the psychotic bin Laden. I mean, they're going to do something. They're going to run airplanes into buildings. So Candy Rice and Dick and all those guys, all those neocons, knew exactly what was going on. And then this one general comes back from Europe after 9/11 and goes into the Pentagon and goes to an office, and this guy was like a colonel, goes, "General, come here. Close the door. We're going to war with Iran and Iraq and Lebanon and and the general goes, "What?" I goes, "Why? How come?" He goes, "I don't know, but that's the order coming down from Rumsfeld." Anyway, you just have to go. It's all over. Just Google it. I was reading a JAMA report that says that, we've only had AI in our, our life for about a year or two, right? But already medical institutions have picked up on it because AI can look at all the x-rays and CAT scans and all that and find stuff that the average doctor can't because he's too busy, too fret, too distracted. Anyway, JAMA has put out this report, only a year and a half of being exposed to AI, that the medical dynamic in America has gone down by 30% because people are losing their edge on looking at that x-ray or that CAT scan. People are getting stupider, just like you go Google blah blah blah, instead of, I used to spend hours and hours in libraries looking stuff up for other people's AI Google, Anyway, still want to be there, two of you now. Still waiting for an interesting question. Jamie, he was at least, saying something. Crazy train, yeah. Benefits, yep. And like today, I went to the gas, I came out of the deep green, and my gas doesn't work. So I have to use the odometer as my gas gauge. So I was already at about 400 miles on one tank of gas, so as any time soon I'd be running out of gas. So I said, "Okay, Jesus, get me to the closest gas station," which I did, the beer store. Got to the beer store. I was gonna have lunch there, but they were closed, right? I said, "What happened to the cafe?" And she goes, "We're only open from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. No lunch, no dinner, nothing? No, we don't do that anymore. Just breakfast." And there's only 4 things on the breakfast. So, biscuits and gravy, biscuits and gravy, biscuits and gravy, and biscuits and gravy. So I said, "Oh," and then they had a little warmer thing on the counter, and I saw this, little cheeseburger. It was about that big. And I kind of put my hand in there, and I was looking at it like this. I said, "How much is this?" And she goes, $8.85. I said, $9 for this? She goes, "Things are going up, buddy." And I said, and she's wearing her MAGA hat. I said, "Isn't America great again? Isn't Donald? I love Donald." And I went into my holler voice. I love me some Donnie Trump. I love him. Oh, he's making America great again. Ooh-wee. We're all going to have to go, forget the toilets in your house anymore. That's not going to work because we had a big flood here. And different, where I was, it rained 5 inches, but it was nothing, I have a lot of good drainage. So it didn't bother me. But there's this place called Deerville or something like that. And they got really whacked bad. The road into the place is gone. The bridge is kind of knocked sideways, so people have to go over it really gingerly. Their water line is, endangered, blah, blah, blah. And the septic for that side of the county kind of is there. Anyway, so the stream is right there, and it wiped them out. It's 300 houses wiped away. And they hadn't gotten any money from FEMA for the big hurricane, Helene. So now, the county, the people called the county executive, He didn't even answer the phone. He called the state representative, didn't even answer the phone. And they called like 700 times, right? And they weren't warned or told, better watch out. 300 houses. And not only that, where the septic line is got ruptured, so now the whole side of that lake and the river is like full of icky, ooh. And so you drive on that side of the lake, it doesn't smell good. And they're building the $1 million houses over there. Ooh-wee. So isn't Donald Trump just so great? Donnie Trump. And good old Neon Husk. You know Neon Husk? Elon Musk? Elon Husk, right? Neon Husk. Neon, meaning bright. Ooh, right? And a husk, what is a husk? It's a stem of a plant that's hollow on the inside. It's got nothing in there. So that's what our Neon Husk is, right? Mr. Douche. And so, douche, right? That's what we got. We got a big, that side of the county and that side of the lake just full of douche, right? And we are just this little town out in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. Good luck. So I was in that store, the beer store. Ooh, you know what a ticket to gamble, is? A lottery ticket. It used to cost $1. Now it's $5. I don't buy them anymore, So anyway, so last year, the thing won. The lottery made $1.8 billion for the state, for the education system, right? And this year, when the state legislature was like going, okay, let's budget education. So we got $1.something billion to start with, and then we had this tax and that tax. And they realized that they only had $35 million to give to public education in the state of Tennessee. It looks like they should have, almost $2 billion, but they don't. Where did that go? Ooh, I wonder. Just like Rumsfeld the day before 9/11, when it was 9/10, he was put up on a carpet by the news guy saying, hey, we just found out that the Defense Department has lost $2.something trillion. Where'd that money go? And it was just lost, when Bill Clinton was here, they had an excess of this much money, and the budget was balanced, and the debt was at $6 billion. What is it now? $47 trillion? Anyway, so Rumsfeld, well, we don't know where it went to, but we're going to find out. We have all the people with all the receipts and all the floppy disks, and they're the smartest people to figure this out. We'll tell you soon, right? And so the next day, boom, right? 9/11, right? Hits the World Trade Center twice. One goes down in Pennsylvania, another one goes into the Pentagon, and guess where it hit? Right where those 300 people who knew everything about the budget and had all the receipts and had all the floppy disks, that's what got hit. And they all died, and all that documentation was burned to a crisp. And we never heard about that $2.something trillion that went missing in less than 8 months under George W. and good old Dickie boy. So, are you happy with that? Do you feel good? Because it doesn't matter if it's a Republican or Democrat. Because, we had we had 8 years of Georgie Porgy, and it just was a shitstorm. And then Obama came in, and he was worse, And then we got Donnie. Good luck. I go by the school of, the George Carlin School of Economics and Politics. And anyway, so I was telling you about the dream I had, and it was a good one. And what else is going on? So it's a beautiful day, but it's really muggy out there. And anyway. So anyway, there's nobody there, and There's only one thumbs. Come on, let's have some more thumbs up. How about the nice music behind? It's Gunsmoke or Wagon Train or Ponderosa or something like that. These guys like 1960s cowboy shows, and I do too. Anyway, I think that's it. There's nobody else to say anything. I gave you a little story, a little dream, a little exercise to illuminate your eye, kind of a heads up about each day from here until New Year's. It's gonna be weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder. Each day is going to be like, just remember, I don't know how many of you guys can remember this, but what was things like before, like in 1999? Remember Prince's song, Dance Like It's 1999? So, imagine, just remember what it was like in 1999, and then what it was like in 2001 with 9/11, right? Just think it was like a century of time and space, right? Things like hit the fan, went down through the floor. It was terrible. And we were bankrupt. I mean, Bill Clinton got us, 4 years of balanced budgets, and everyone talked about his willy, about his dick. Isn't that kind of like what's going on now with Donnie Trump and not Elon, but Jeffy, right? And no one talks about Peter Thiel. He's like the Darth Vader's master, the Emperor. That's Peter Thiel. And none of them are, Anyway, so unless you guys start talking and say more than hi, I'm out of here. Okay? It's always fun. I love you guys. Talk to you later. Maybe I'll come on later in the afternoon.